What's going on, everyone? This upcoming season, we're going to see what this big three can do, right? The Lakers are going in with Russell Westbrook, although all offseason, all we heard was the trades, the potential trades, all the trade rumors, things like that. But ultimately, the Lakers decided to keep Russell Westbrook on the belief that they could make it work, and they wanted to see what Darvin Ham was able to do with Russ. Russ has supposedly, based on reports, changed his shooting form and is much more improved in the three-point range, but we'll see how that translates to the regular season game. Nonetheless, we got Russell Westbrook on the roster, at least for now, right? There's always the trade deadline or at some point during the season. I do think the Lakers give Russ and this, big three at least a reasonable sample size before they start panicking and, pulling the trigger on a potential trade. A lot of the trades that are out there still will be there in the coming month or two, or even several, or even at the trade deadline. So it's not really an immediate rush. But we do have some new reports from The Athletic diving into some of the Lakers' trades and that they were really close to doing several. Now, one of the biggest trades, and one that Lakers Nation seemed to want the most, was the Kyrie Irving to the Lakers trade, right? That was the deal that was rumored for the first several months, and at many points seemed like it was about to be done, that it was a done deal. Now, ultimately, the Nets were never trading Kyrie until they figured out the Kevin Durant situation. As soon as Kevin Durant opted in and decided to stay and try to ride this out at least this season, that basically put an end to any Kyrie trade, at least for the time being. Now, if the Nets implode or, something bad ends up happening, because I do think the Nets are a bad day away from just falling apart, although I think that they, on paper, might be the best team in the entire league. It's just, can they mentally stay focused enough to actually compete and win this season? And if it's not looking good, I wouldn't be shocked if the Nets start looking to trade Kyrie Irving because the fear of losing him for nothing next season. You have no cap space to replace him, anything like that. But based on a report from The Athletic, the Lakers actually submitted multiple Kyrie deals to the Nets. Now, we know of a couple. We know that, THT and a first with the pick swap. And then once LeBron finally opted in or signed the extension, then that's when they were willing to pull both first-round picks. But at that point, the Nets were kind of toying with it, and then Kevin Durant decided to stay. They wanted to wait, do one last push. Now, if Kevin Durant said, no, I still want to be gone, still want to be traded, who knows what would have happened? It's very possible that the Kyrie deal could have gotten done, and it still might. If not this season, maybe next offseason. And there's nothing wrong with holding on to the picks, holding on to the assets, and not just, making a deal to make a deal, right? Because what if Kyrie does become available again and we have a real opportunity this time to go get him? Or, say this offseason, Kyrie Irving wants to come to the Lakers. We work out a deal. We still have some assets. Maybe we could go get some other pieces, things like that. It opens the door for potential. And maybe not even Kyrie, maybe just somebody else, like say Bradley Beal, or say DeMar DeRozan, say the Bulls, start falling apart. And then ultimately they're like, okay, let's just blow it up. And they decide to go and trade DeMar and maybe even, trade some of because if you did a Westbrook for DeMar deal, you'd have to get some other pieces. So maybe you could get a Vucevic or something like that, something along those lines. But the one trade that, based on the reports from The Athletic, and it's from Shams and Sam Amick and Jovan Buha and several others, have reported that the Lakers were really considering the Indiana Pacers deal, that they were really close to pulling the trigger on a Miles Turner, Buddy Hield deal for the first, as well as Russell Westbrook, which is very interesting because we've gotten several reports from the Indiana Pacers side, basically saying that they're still down to do the deal, right? And that's the thing, though. This deal likely isn't going anywhere, right? And as time goes on, the cheaper these two get. Because come trade deadline, let's say, who's looking at Miles Turner, Buddy Hield, and going, man, we are a Miles Turner, Buddy Hield away from winning the championship this year and willing to give up all their assets? Probably no teams, if so, maybe two or a couple teams, something along those lines. There's not going to be very many teams, and it's not like the Pacers want to take on long-term salary. That was the issue that the Jazz ran into, right? They wanted assets, but they didn't want to take on long-term salary because they're a rebuilding team. Same thing with the Pacers. But they don't want to lose Miles Turner for nothing, which makes sense. And Buddy Hield, he's not on the best contract. Yeah, he's a great three-point shooter, but doesn't really offer anything outside of that. Miles Turner is great defensively, but he's very injury prone. He's coming off of a season-ending injury, and I know some people like to say, well, he could have came back. Well, regardless, the point is that he got injured and missed the season. So nonetheless, whether it was due to the injury or he could have came back or whatever, who knows? Because he got hurt and missed the season. So it still was an injury that led to him missing the season. So that's my problem with this, and just the flight risk, right? And I'm sure the Lakers evaluated all of these different pros and cons, right? Because many people, and I see this constantly in the comment section, many people just focus on the pros, right? Well, if we get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, like we're this, that, and the other. And yeah, you might be right. But you're not looking at the several cons from just Miles Turner's in. It doesn't fix our wing depth issue. It doesn't fix our defense because Buddy Hield is a terrible defender and Miles Turner isn't a wing defender, and that's what we need is wing defense right now. Also, who knows how well they fit together? What if they don't fit together? Miles Turner would be going from being, the second option to like the fifth on this team. How does he feel about that? Is he willing to sacrifice and compromise for the better good? Does he just leave? And not just that, but if you do get him, Miles Turner wants 20 plus million. You have to pay him whatever he wants because you can't run the risk of him leaving. So now you're very likely overpaying for Miles Turner, stuck with Buddy Hield. And if it doesn't work, or say Miles Turner is injured, or he has another injury that he misses the season or something like that, you're stuck with this team. This team isn't going anywhere for the next, 3 years at least. You're stuck with this team. And if it doesn't work out, you're talking a Timothy Mozgov, Lou Aldane situation all over again. Where, say Miles Turner is always hurt, Buddy Hield, you're kind of stuck with his contract for the next 2 seasons. You have no assets to move any of these guys or get off of these guys. Teams aren't going to offer you anything for Miles Turner without taking back bad salary, stuff like that. There's just a lot of risk to it. But I do understand why the Lakers seriously considered it, just because, if it does work out, you're likely an incredible team, right? You have the best defensive front court in the league. The pros are definitely there. It's just, is it worth giving up both first? Now, I do think if the Pacers were like, hey, we'll take a first in 2 seconds, I think the Lakers would have done this. I think the Lakers would still do it right now. But based on the reports, the Lakers decided not to do the deal because they wanted to see what Darvin Ham, like I mentioned earlier, what Darvin Ham could do with Russell Westbrook, and they just didn't want to give up both firsts in the deal. That they wanted to at least give this team an opportunity and a chance to see if there would be anything different, to see if if this team, this trio, along with the pieces, can try to make something work. Because again, this Pacers deal, it's not going anywhere. Like, there aren't teams banging on the door for these two guys. Now, could the Pacers end up trading Miles Turner somewhere? Yeah. I do believe that there are teams that would take Miles Turner, but they're not going to take him at the current asking price. If they come down and they basically do what the Utah Jazz did with Bojan Bogdanovic, then yeah, I could see a team taking that. But he has a reasonable salary at 18 plus million. How many teams are going to do that? See, the thing about Russell Westbrook is he was like a get out of jail free card for so many teams, and that's why teams wanted him so badly. That's why teams were interested. So many people get stuck up on the player. Like, why would this team want the player, Russell Westbrook? They don't. They want the salary because you basically get a free board wipe. You get to clear your books, all that stuff. You buy out Russ. You get some free assets in the process. It's a huge win. And that's something that's not being equated in a lot of people's thoughts for this type of trade. Like, a lot of people just look at it as like, you have to give up one first for Russell Westbrook, and then you have to give up something for the players. And that's not what it is. The only deal that would have required a first just for Russ was the San Antonio Spurs as the third team for Kyrie Irving. Because literally the only thing that the Spurs would have gotten was that pick. They didn't need to do the Westbrook deal. They weren't sending out any players or salary to tank. It was literally, we'll absorb Russell Westbrook, but we're not going to do that for free, so we want one of those first. Outside of that, every single team, every single conversation have all been a positive reason why teams want Russell Westbrook. And that has value in and of itself. You know, like the Pacers deal, you're moving off of Buddy Hield's contract for the next 2 years. You know, it frees up future cap salary, right? And then also you're opening spots for your young guys that you got to play more minutes, to do more things. Miles Turner, you're getting something and an asset for him. You're moving off of an injury-prone player that you don't really need, that doesn't really want to be there, all that stuff. You know, it's helping you get above the cap floor, which is something that they need to do. You know, stuff like that. All of these things have value in and of itself. All of the, like even the Utah Jazz, like they wanted to clear off Mike Conley's salary and, you know, and then move Boyan and get some assets and stuff like that. And they still need to clear, you know, 3 guys, which likely they're going to have to buy out now instead of getting assets for them. All of those things, they all have value. There's something that the other team is getting back and is the reason why they want Russ. They don't just want Russ just to get a pick for Russ. No, they want Russ because it makes sense to unload guys, unload salary, you know, get to a certain salary point, things like that. That's why these teams want to do it. And that in and of itself has some inherent value. That needs to be part of the equation, you know, because where else are those teams getting that? There's not another contract like Russell Westbrook's. So he's the one and only. And that's why so many teams were willing to do a deal with the Lakers for Russell Westbrook, because they had inherent issues and problems that they needed and wanted to solve. And Russ immediately solves all of them. So it's like, perfect. We take him, we buy him out, and all is right in the world. And the Lakers are the ones that are waiting and being patient. The Lakers have moved on, you know, and a lot of these deals are still going to be there, and even more might be there come the trade deadline. You know, so it isn't a bad idea to be patient. See what Darvin Ham can do with Russell Westbrook and this team. Can they be effective? Can they be really good? And what if he is? You know, what if Russ is really good with this team? You know, and we do look really good, and we are competitive, and we are, you know, a team that, let's say we make it to the Western Finals. You know, I mean, Dallas made it last year, so it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that the Lakers, with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and if Russell Westbrook is working, that they can't do the same thing. Or what if they make it to the finals? Something like that. Then everybody's going to change their tune. It'll be a whole conversation. It'll be a whole different thing. Everybody will be like, oh, I knew it could work. You know, that's just how it works. But I'm okay with the Lakers not doing the deal. This deal wasn't worth both firsts. This deal didn't need to be done for both firsts. And it's not going anywhere. Like, if it was, like, there's been reports that other teams have inquired about Miles Turner. And other teams are willing to give up assets and stuff like that for Miles Turner. How come no one's done it? It's the same thing I was saying for the Jazz deal. How come no one's done it? Look at what the Jazz did with Bogdanovich. They basically just gave him away and got nothing. They didn't get any assets, and they were trying to have this high asking price for him too. But teams knew, and they weren't willing to deal, and they're not going to give up stuff. And the Jazz didn't want to give up long-term salary, so they just unloaded him just to unload him. And the Pacers might do that at some point with Miles Turner, but then you're at that point, then again, it proves the Lakers were smart standing pat because he's not worth what the Indiana Pacers are asking for. So no matter what happens, it looks like they're going to do something like that, you know? So anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think about this deal? What do you think about this trade? Do you think it gets done? Do you think it doesn't? Do you want them to do this deal? Do you not? However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know. Quick little shameless plug, everyone. If you enjoy my videos and commentary here on this channel, As It Stands Lakers, then check out the link down in the description below and go subscribe to As It Stands. Believe it or not, As It Stands was the first channel. If it wasn't for that channel, this channel would never have existed. Because of the success of that channel, it led me to want to create this Lakers channel. So do me a huge solid. If you're not subscribed over there, go check that out. Go subscribe over there. I talk all things sports, all teams, things like that, not just the Lakers. So if you just enjoy my commentary and want to hear me talk about other things, or you just, are a fan of other sports and other teams, go check that out. I promise you will not be disappointed. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.